Chris Weston is the head of research at Pepperstone. Good for you to be with us this morning. Thanks.
Good morning.
I'll get to that question in a second.
The
Federal Reserve, which way do you think that's going to go tomorrow, Chris?
Well, it comes out at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, and they'll cut. So I think that's pretty much in the bag. It's a question more of whether they go 50 basis points or just 25. But a 25 is fully discounted in the market. I think if they don't cut, then you're going to see an absolute collapse in equity markets overnight. Gold prices will get slammed and the US dollar will rally hard. But as I say, it's pretty much in the bag. There are other issues that are going on. There's been some pretty crazy moves going through in the funding markets overnight in the US, and that gives us the belief that liquidity is too tight. And there's a good chance that we may see various liquidity measures being pulled out by the Federal Reserve. That could include a new round of quantitative easing light to effective liquidity. That could be very good for financial markets. Could be very good for equity markets. So look, they'll cut rates, but I think it's more about the outlook, and it's also about any kind of injections of liquidity into financial markets. And I think that could be very good for equities if we see that.
What does it mean for the Aussie dollar?
Well, it would be very good if we see the Federal Reserve saying, look, you know, we think the US economy is in a good spot, but in the interbank borrowing market, things are looking a bit tight at the moment. We want to inject some liquidity into that. That could be good for risk assets. The Aussie dollar would be sort of pushed into that basket there. Good for emerging markets, of which the Australian dollars are seen as a quasi emerging market currency. It's a proxy of that space. So, yeah, I think the risks are that we do see a stronger Australian dollar overnight, based on the fact that you're probably going to see a weaker US dollar by that assimilation there. So it's going to be an interesting night. But I think, you know, we could be in for some fireworks tonight, and the Australian dollar will be amongst that group there.
Well, you talk about fireworks, and some of those fireworks, I suppose, can relate to oil supply at the moment. We had Tom Petrovsky on our show a short time ago, and he mentioned that, Saudi Arabia has said that it's sort of back to normal production, or will be back to about 2 million barrels per day, and normal service should be resumed by the end of the month. But how much of an impact could that be having, not just on the US Federal Reserve's decision, but also, you know, an economic impact closer to home?
Well, I think it's too soon at the moment to say that this is going to have an economic impact. I think if we saw higher oil prices for a sustained period, that would have an impact on the global economy, both good and bad, though you could sort of look at it from both perspectives. But, you know, we haven't seen... I don't think this is going to influence the Federal Reserve in any capacity at this stage. You know, I think we need to see it for a sustained period for the Fed to be quite concerned. And, you know, I think what the news was overnight and caused a 6.5% move to the downside, you know, it just shows just how on edge traders are. There's tighter liquidity in that market, and therefore you're going to get those really big moves reversing very quickly. And it's kind of like the wild west of markets at the moment. So, yeah, you know, trading oil is certainly one for the the bravest of souls. But, yeah, as I say, I think what we need to see is a sustained period at these levels and actually push higher for this to genuinely affect economics. And I think one of the issues is, yeah, fine, from a supply perspective, they're saying that we're going to see things return back to normal. But, you know, let's not forget that this can happen again. And I think people are very much on edge that we could see another attack at any stage. And that obviously could see prices go higher. So while supply is coming back online, if we do see, you know, greater tensions that could lead something more sinister from what is effectively a war of words at the moment, then, of course, oil prices can spike up again. So we're certainly not out of the woods.
Yeah, well, I think